Share the assumptions with us?
He said that modeling is based on assumptions. Would you care to share the assumptions with them?
I recognize you can't do that over the phone today, but could you send them to us?
Would you send it to him since you can't do it over the phone probably?
Sure, I'd be happy to. It's based on the Puget Sound Regional Council's model, so I may have to get some of the more technical assumptions from them, but yeah, I'd be happy to share.
Thank you.
All right, thanks.
If I might, we can make a copy of this available to you. This is the most recent report published by the CTR program to the legislature. And in this report, it indicates program accomplishments for the last 2 years specifically. And you can see within the state of Washington for program sites that are affected by the law in terms of their commute patterns and commute behaviors compared to state averages or national averages, that there's a very substantial difference in terms of employers that are participating in the program, their percentage of commute by other versus the nation as a whole. So very simple statistics for you to look at. I think what the program does is the program measures its success every 2 years as part of the survey process that Jan mentioned. And that's probably the best indicator of program results when it comes to commute options. The air quality modeling and things like that, what Pete mentions, those are done statistically through models and so forth.
I've never seen an air quality model that worked. That's my interest in the assumptions.
Yeah, and I can't speak to that, but assuming that there was some basis behind it. That shows you the actual behavior, though, in terms of commute patterns. I would just offer for the council just a point of context in terms of the overall interlocal agreement that you have in front of you and goal. When the program was established, the region, when I say the region, Clark County region, the affected jurisdictions in the county, all contracted with C-TRAN, and they pooled their resources and had C-TRAN be the primary contracting agency to deliver the services. And what C-TRAN did back then, it's the same the city does now, is more or less administer the program. By administering the program, what that means is that, we have the relationship with the state to get their training, and then we then deliver the training to the local jurisdictions. We work with all the affected work sites. We go and visit them, work with them on their programs, do their training, offer the extra services, etc. In 2005 or 6, I believe it was, C-TRAN decided that they couldn't do it or they didn't want to do the program anymore. And so the decision was left to all the partner agencies to, well, how do you want to handle this? Does everybody want to go their own separate way and just, Washougal run your piece of it, Vancouver, Clark County, Camas, or should we continue to pool the resources? The committee back in, I think it was 2005, decided, well, there's value in pooling the resource, having one point of contact that is the expert, that's the administrator. At this point, Jan serves that role for the city of Vancouver. While she's a city of Vancouver employee, that's just by, I guess, some organization has to run the contract, run the program, but she's really the employee of the program. The resources that flow from the state to support, this is not an unfunded mandate. There are resources that are provided by the state to the local programs. Those are the funds that we use to actually run all the activities, run the trainings, do the work site. This is essentially what pays for the administrative position. We just figured there's value in collapsing it down and having one organization run the program. So what happens is every 2 years, there's a re-up potentially. The program has to be funded and refunded by the legislature every 2 years. This most recent program update was this past summer in 2009. So we're circulating the agreements again, just reconfirming and allowing every council to reconfirm that they want to participate as part of the pool. Certainly every council has the authority to choose, at least on the interlocal, that whether they do or they don't. If you chose to go your own way, there would be minimal resource available, I think like $2,500 that you could contract with the state for to provide that service. I don't know if it would be valuable to provide that by yourself, but that's certainly a decision point. But at this point, we've assumed that the past practice is the agreed upon practice, which is everybody try to pool the resource and do it together. As it relates to the ordinance, which I understand is another action in front of you, the law provides that you update your ordinance and specify and clarify, and that's where Jan described that actually in the ordinance, things have become a little bit more simple with the employer, a little bit more clear lines of what they have to do and what they don't have to do. And the goals that are set for the employer, there's a lot more discretion at the local level for the goal. Previously, there were some pretty aggressive goals. Now, you can decide really at the local level as long as the region, so that would be all of Vancouver, Camas, and Washougal, are accomplishing the goal. You know, maybe the Camas sites aren't as aggressive because of where you're located geographically and so forth. And that's something that's pretty much been sorted out already. So that's, I think, really the actions that you have in front of you are related to just those two relationships.
And with the new CTR efficiency law, the jurisdictions had to make new ordinances to line up with the law. So that's why you're doing that. And as a group, we agreed that instead of asking the employer to do an annual report every year, we made it so it's now every other year, so that the burden is less on the employer. And so that's part of what's included in your ordinance, that change. I don't know what else you've talked about, but that is one of the major things that we've done to make it easier. And for the Vancouver work site, since ours has already passed through our council, the employee transportation coordinators, or the ETCs is what we call them, they were exuberant over the fact that they didn't have to do that every year anymore. And one of the major things that we do by pooling our resources together is we're able to provide so much more support to those businesses because they do have to do the program. By pooling our money together, we're able to provide them so much more support. I brought samples for you. We have promotional materials. We provide all of this for them. The emergency ride home program, we provide the taxi vouchers, employees that use an alternative commute to work. We provide emergency ride home, peace of mind insurance is what we call it. And if that employee has an emergency come up at work, their child is sick, or mandatory unexpected overtime, and let's say they carpool to work, that one of those employees can get a free taxi ride up to 50 miles one way. Well, by pulling our resources together, we're able to fund that piece of the program. Now, it's not used very often, but it's there and it's available for them. And so that's the handout that I gave you. The top part is the minimal things that a jurisdiction would have to do. And beneath that, the highlights are the things that we've been able to do by working together. And on top of that, the City of Vancouver has been very aggressive. We've secured some CMAQ funding for a website that our citizens can use, both those that work in Southwest Washington and those who commute to Portland. And so there's just a lot of good things that we've done. And I do want to say that typically employees see commute trip reduction as an employee benefit. They really see it because we're educating them. Our primary role is educating them and showing that there are options if they choose to take it. And it really helps a lot of employees who might have transportation challenges or things like that. So actually, it's really overall seen as a really positive program. We have all kinds of different things that we do to motivate and encourage people to try something different if it works for their lifestyle.
I don't think this could come at a more inauspicious time. Our employers don't need any other burden right now. In addition to that, I think what this program is designed to do is to not deny the people of Washougal the benefit from the greatest invention of the last 200 years in terms of transportation mobility